a 16-year-old Fortnite nerd with years of experience improving at Fortnite myself and helping others improve too. And today we're going in depth on mastering fast editing in Fortnite. This is a comprehensive guide focused purely on improving your editing speed and efficiency. So let's get straight into it. Before we can master advanced techniques, we need to ensure your settings are optimized for peak performance. Open your settings menu and verify these crucial configurations. To start, for max editing speed, edit on release should be turned on. Make your edit bind very accessible. I recommend using E, F, or a side mouse button. Also, make sure your FPS is the highest your PC can handle or whatever you're on can handle. Obviously, don't put it to unlimited, just have it on whatever your monitor's refresh rate is. And also, a couple little secret ones that no one actually really talks about very much is to have replays turned off. This will give you better delay. Also, turning off pre-edits does give you less delay, but I personally don't do it purely because of the fact that I mess up a lot when I have it off. So just having it on really helps me stay consistent. Maybe getting a custom crosshair might help you a little bit with your precision, because your crosshair is technically like a precision tool and it should always be moved with purpose and intent. I use Crosshair X. There are other crosshair things. There's actually a free version of Crosshair X, I think. So maybe trying that out will help you out. So let's start with the core edit patterns that you need to master. When editing walls, you'll primarily use the top 3 squares edit, which creates a peak for good shots. And you'll also use either the 4 tile edit or the 3 tile edit. So definitely mastering your crosshair placement when doing these is going to be very, very helpful. Me personally, walls were one of the hardest edits or builds to master when trying to edit them fast, because they take a lot more movement than things like cones and floors. Talking about floors, the fastest way to edit them would just be single edits. However, sometimes this can block your view. So in some edit sequences, you might want to edit a double tile, but most of the time, try and do single tile. That's the same with cone edits as well. Doing single edits will definitely make your editing a lot faster, as there's a lot less for you to do, so you can do it in the least time possible. You also have to do less movement, which means you'll probably mess up a lot less. But the key to speed isn't just in doing single edits, it's about the timing. This is the most important thing when editing fast. When executing any edit, your sequence should be fluid. Press your edit key, make your selection, and a release to confirm. A common mistake I see players make is holding the edit key longer than necessary. It's got to be quick, precise keystrokes, because they will produce the best results. Now we're going to go through a couple of challenging techniques that beginners may struggle with. Starting off with the double edit. Double editing is where a lot of players will hit like a rock where they can't really figure it out. That is the same with triple edits, but with double edits being literally the best thing you could possibly have in your arsenal when playing competitively or just playing casually, it's something you definitely need to learn as a beginner. When doing a double edit, think of it as one continuous motion rather than 2 separate edits. The same applies for almost every double edit, triple edit you do. You just want to have it as all one motion. The secret to triple edits isn't actually speed, it's about your rhythm. You need to develop a consistent tempo. This basically means the speed at which you're doing the edit is very repetitive, and the speed of it doesn't really fluctuate or change between each edit. So the speed will basically naturally flow throughout the whole triple edit. Protected editing is crucial for competitive gameplay. When performing a peak, always maintain cover. You want to make sure your peak shots are unpredictable, so having a lot of speed can be helpful with that as well. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll fake one peak, reset, and then do another peak, and they get caught off guard quite easily. This also helps by being able to have a good variety of edits you can do, so you can vary the edit patterns that you do in fights to avoid becoming predictable to skilled opponents. Also, cones can break a lot, so making sure you're being protective when you're editing a cone should become second nature. This is very helpful for providing cover, and also you can use cones just in general to provide yourself some cover and help to escape, and there'll probably be an example of that on screen right now, as this is a bit confusing for beginners to understand. When expanding boxes, each piece placement should flow naturally into your next edit. This basically means when you're finished placing something, your crosshair should already be where your next edit will start. This just reduces the time for you to turn around and find where your next edit is. When expanding boxes, it's not about spam building, it's about creating layers where you're protected and you can edit through easily. Your tunneling should be both protective and purposeful, with each edit creating new angles whilst also maintaining protection. To implement these techniques effectively, you need a structured practice routine. Dedicate 15 minutes a day to basic edit courses. Focus on clean, consistent edits. Follow this 15 minutes of advanced pattern practice, gradually increasing your speed while maintaining accuracy. Also spend another 10 minutes free building, maybe using the 2x speed or the slow motion speed that you can do in a lot of maps these days. And then after that, go into real games and try and implement everything you've learned into realistic scenarios. Also, make sure to remember that your system that you're using, your computer, whatever you're using, does actually have a cap on how fast you can edit. It doesn't cap how good you can get, but it does cap how fast you can edit. A good example of this is scroll wheel reset. I'm not sure if they have anything on controller now, but being on computer or keyboard and mouse allows you to have scroll wheel reset, which is absolutely amazing, and it's something that has been a massive advantage for keyboard and mouse for a very long time. So this is just proof as something that your computer, whatever you use, can actually hold you back. Now let's go over the most common mistakes I see players making when trying to improve their editing speed. First is the spam editing syndrome. Basically just rapidly hitting your edit key hoping to get faster. This actually creates inconsistent timing and builds bad muscle memory. Instead, you want to focus on smooth, deliberate motions. If you're missing edits, slow down and rebuild that muscle memory correctly. Another critical mistake is improper crosshair placement during edit chains. Many players look too far ahead while editing, causing them to miss crucial selections. Keep your eyes focused on your current edit until it's confirmed, then immediately shift to the next piece. Think of it like reading a book. You don't look at the next paragraph before finishing your current sentence. A technical issue many players face is edit delay. If you're experiencing what it feels like delayed edits, first you need to check your ping. If your ping is anything above 40 ms, you'll definitely require some slight editing timing adjustments, which basically means the timing between each edit will have to be slowed down so you can actually make the edit without running into a wall. All this creative practice is great, but if you're getting 1000 FPS in creative and only getting 80 in real games, you're practicing with inconsistent timing. Cap your FPS to a rate you can maintain consistently, even in stacked end games. Going back to scroll wheel reset, this usually stems from practice habits, basically just practicing only in creative with no threat of being eliminated or no pressure. If you incorporate realistic pressure into your practice, something like editing whilst taking storm damage during moving zones with a friend applying pressure, this can really help. Here's how to troubleshoot specific editing issues. If you're consistently missing the same edit, slow down and record yourself. Watch the recording at 0.5 speed and look for crosshair placement issues. If you're getting stuck on edit courses, break down the sequence into smaller chunks. Master each transition individually before combining them. And also for players who are struggling with triple edits, the issue usually isn't speed, it's actually rhythm. Practice with your headphones off so you can hear how the edit should be made. That's actually a really helpful tip that I used myself and isn't one that many people actually do. Finally, let's address mouse control. If your edits are inconsistent, your sensitivity might be too high. If your sensitivity is too high, try reducing your sensitivity by 2% at a time until you find what you feel like is your sweet spot. But I do recommend, if you're on 800 DPI, not going below 5% and not going above around 15%. Remember, pros like Clix, Thomas HD, Peterbot, Cold, they all use relatively slow sensitivities for precise edit control, and also some of the fastest editing pros on the planet. The path to faster editing isn't about rushing through the motions, it's about building clean, consistent mechanics that you can execute under pressure. Focus on accuracy first, and then speed will follow. Remember, every professional editor started exactly where you are now. The only difference is they were consistent and had focused practice.